Well, good morning, Savannah. You are listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM and WRUU.org. We are Savannah Sound and Community Radio with a global soul. And this is the Daily Dose with your life coach and your host, Gina Cherie. I want to welcome you guys this morning. It has been a long weekend, you guys, but I hope you guys are having a fabulous day. We're going to do something a little bit different this morning. We're going to focus on listeners' comments, questions, emails, and things of that nature to kind of go over all the past shows, not all of them, but majority of the past shows. And it's going to be focused around you guys today. So I'm looking forward to answering some questions today. So if you are live with me on TikTok, then you guys can post a question there and I will read it and answer it while we are live right now. But I want to take a moment to welcome you guys in, whether you're joining me for the first time or if you've been with me on this journey for a while. I am glad that you are here this morning. This is your space for truth, healing, and personal growth, a place where your voice matters and your transformation is honored. So remember, healing doesn't have to be loud and growth doesn't have to be hard. Sometimes all it takes is a small shift, a kind word, or a moment of stillness. So wherever you are this morning, whether you are laying in the bed, whether you are walking, whether you're driving, whether you are drinking your morning coffee, which coffee was like the best, with some extra shots this morning, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is the space for you. All right, you guys, so we're going to do things a little bit different. Like I said earlier, we are going to recap. First, we're going to recap what we talked about last Sunday, anxiety and the pressures that we have placed upon ourselves. And we're also going to go over the journal prompt from last Sunday and what expectations have we put on ourselves. And we're going to rebrief that for a second. And then today's focus is going to be around answering questions, emails, and DMs, because you guys are definitely DMing me on my Instagram, so which I love. And like I said, once we're done with the live show, we take it to the Instagram or we take it to TikTok, you guys. So we're gonna be doing that today. So recap real quick. Last Sunday we talked about anxiety and the pressure that we put on ourselves, and you guys were given a journal prompt like we do every Sunday. And no, today's not different. We will be given a journal prompt at the end of today's show. Yeah. Anxiety and the pressures that we put on ourselves. We talked about the silent ways we hold our breath, trying to hold everything together. We also explored the internal script that whispers, "You're not doing enough," or "You should be further along. You should be better by now." Some of the things that we went over last Sunday. But I also shared that self-pressure often wears the mask of motivation, but it is driven by fear, not by faith, right? Let me see. You guys all showed up with honesty, and you guys, the ones that wrote in, you guys did admit the pressure that you guys have placed on yourselves, and the pressure of being perfect and or healed or just a productive has left you exhausted by the things that you were trying to get done. And you guys put a time limit on where you think you should be in your life, whether it's a career base, whether it's being married, whether it's having a certain amount of money, a certain title, but everything that we have done is added on pressure. And we did go over how being realistic is 10 times better than putting all the self expectations on yourself. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes we give ourselves a deadline, like I'm 26, I should have this by now, or I've been in this company for this amount of time, I should be have this title by now. And then we go over and we go over and beyond, and we overwork ourselves, or we try to keep up with people in the office. We did talk about that as well. And doing things that just make us burn out, instead of putting realistic expectations on yourself, and knowing that you're in your own lane, and you trying to keep up with everybody else is not only exhausting, but it's not worth the pressure, the overthinking, the burnout, which many of us we do burn ourselves out trying to keep up. So we did go over that, and yeah, we got a lot of feedback on that too. I'm not surprised, but then again, I am surprised how many people are still operating in that space where you guys are trying to keep up, you guys are trying to overdo. You're trying to have your boss or whoever look at you so that you can get that promotion. And I remember saying, what is for you, it is for you, right? And I will stand by that. What is for us will be for us, and nobody can take that away from us. And I hope that you guys can write that down, make a sticky note, write it on your mirror, and remember that, because what's for you will be for you, and that will kind of help you calm that anxiety and that pressure that you put on yourself. And yeah, that'll make it a little bit easier for you to understand that you do not have to compete, you do not have to compare. What's for you will be for you. So that was ding ding ding. That gives me something that you guys can write down if you guys have not wrote it down just yet. We also talked about name what you're feeling without judgment, and that is part of your journaling, and that's why I say journaling is very important, because you guys can do, it's like a form of release, and sometimes we cannot verbally state what we are feeling in that moment. So if you're able to write it down, and while you're writing it down, all I ask is that you be honest with yourself, and be very transparent in that moment, because writing things down, trying to release things, and you're not being honest about what you're feeling, what you're thinking, is not going to help you. You got to be honest. You might not like what you're writing, you might not like what you're reading, you might not like what you're feeling at the moment, but if you are honest with yourself, that is going to be a form of release, because once you're honest and once you write it down, then you can start tackling what the real problem is, right? So we also reframed, I should be doing more, to I'm doing the best I can with what I have, right? And most importantly, breathing through the process, especially when we're feeling overwhelmed. I had to learn that. At first I thought it was kind of cheesy, but I had to learn to step back when something is feeling overwhelming, or I'm getting frustrated. I have learned to step back and take a moment, breathe, go focus my attention somewhere else for a second, so that I can come back to the drawing board and do it with a clearer mind, right? Because when we try to keep going and keep doing things out of frustration and we're feeling overwhelmed, nothing is going to get accomplished. So taking that moment to breathe, taking that moment to step back and focus your attention somewhere else, so you can have a clear mind from what's frustrating you, and then return back to it. And that helps with a lot of things. Like if you're having a disagreement with somebody, and before you say something that you might regret later, it's okay to take a moment to pause, take a moment to step back, let that person know, or let them know that you just need a moment, and you guys can return to this conversation when you have a chance to breathe, right? That has helped me as well. So listeners' comments, we're going to jump right into that, and this is one from that name Jordan keeps popping up, and shout out to all the Jordans out there. I told you guys once before, that is my nephew's name. Shout out to Jordan, and he just celebrated a birthday. So shout out to everybody that has celebrated a birthday upon this week and this weekend. And let's just say happy birthday to all August out there. But my nephew just celebrated his birthday, so shout out to my nephew. But this is from the episode on anxiety, the last Sunday's episode, right? And from Savannah, so shout out to Savannah. Gina, the episode on anxiety hit home. I didn't even realize I was the one creating most of the pressure in my life until you said that anxiety can be self-made. What do you suggest for someone who struggles to slow down even when they want to? Okay, so that goes back to taking a breath, taking a moment, and refocusing, right? Jordan, thank you, first of all, for commenting and listening to the Daily Dose on 107.5 or on Spotify. However you listen to it, thank you very much for being a part of the Daily Dose family. Well, when your nervous system is used to rushing, slowing down, can feel very, very uncomfortable when you're at such a fast pace and you're always on the go, 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 go. Like, that used to be me. I was on the go all the time. Like, my mind and my brain could not rest. My body would be tired, physically, emotionally, right? And my brain would just keep going. I know there's plenty of us out there that our brains is just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, right? But that takes a moment. You need to be able to take a moment to pause. Slowing down can feel very uncomfortable and unsafe. You feel like maybe you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, but try building micro moments of pause into your day. And we talked about this on a previous show. Doing a little sometimes is doing a lot, right? And doing like small portions of something can make you accomplish it better than trying to do the whole task at once and doing it in frustration and doing it and feeling overwhelmed, right? So when you're trying to try building that micro moments for pause into your day. One deep breath before you speak. Take a deep breath before you do basically anything. That can help. Do a 3-minute body scan before bed, and that can mean whatever that needs to mean for you. If you need to take that reflection that you got, the positive affirmations that you write down on your sticky notes in your journal or on your mirror, if you have to say that over and over again in the morning or at nighttime, that will definitely help you. Whatever it is to you, what it means to you, that's what you should be doing. Putting your hand on your heart and whispering, we are okay. We are fine. We're doing our best, right? Like, those are some of the things that your inner thoughts need to hear, and that will help the anxiety, help you slow down, and it will help you just get a hold of overthinking and being overwhelmed, right? The goal isn't to go from 100 to 0. Okay, it is to find your rhythm again and to find your peace again. So that's my advice for you. I hope that it works, and keep me posted, right? Like, continue writing in, which is through email, hostjenacherie@gmail.com, or DM me. Some of you guys are leaving me messages on Spotify, and that works too, because it goes right to me and I can answer directly on there, and that's something that we can share as well. All right, listener 2. And this is from Instagram. Shout out to everybody that's leaving me DMs and interacting with me on Instagram, and I will give you my Instagram handle. Brave Butterfly on Instagram. They say, you always talk about being honest with yourself. What if I don't like what I see when I do? Good question. I think when we are dealing with something or healing from something, you're not necessarily going to like what you see, and you're not going to like what you hear, right? But you need to know that it's your truth. Your self-awareness is not self-attack. I don't want you guys to think that, acknowledging the thing that you need to work on, heal from, is not an attack on yourself. It's saying, hey, I recognize that I have this issue. I recognize that I need to work on this. I recognize that I need help on this, right? Then once you do that, because I don't honestly feel that we can heal and grow if we're not honest with the things that we need to work on, the things that we are struggling with. We can sugarcoat them, right? We can downplay it. We can make any excuse that we want to, but that's only going to prolong your healing, right? We need to be honest with each other. Well, not with each other, with yourself. You need to understand that looking yourself in the mirror, however you need to do that, that's only going to help you, and it's going to help you focus on what exactly needs to be worked on. What exactly are you holding on to? What exactly are you still hurt from, right? And once you do that, like I said, that's a form of release, and that's a start of growth. That's a start of your healing process, of being honest with yourself. You got to understand that seeing your patterns, seeing your mess, or even your pain is not a reason for shame. It's a reason for compassion. All of us have something to work on. All of us have something that we experience. Something we'll all have something that we say that, hey, we can use a little improvement in this area. So be gentle with yourself, give yourself compassion, and understand your patterns, and understand if this is something that you continue to do. Now, if you continue to do it without, wanting to work on it, that's a whole nother subject. But if you're saying, hey, I'm tired of dealing with this, I'm tired of going through this over and over and over again, I want to work on it, I want to fix it, I want to change it. Because like I said in previous shows, only you can change what you want to change in your life. Only you have that power. Nobody else can do it for you. Only you can, right? So I want you to do this instead. But also keep this in mind. You are not your past. You are not your worst moment. What you see is part of your story, not the whole of your identity, right? Because what we've done, we're not saying we can't overcome it, we can't learn from it, we can't grow from it, right? So keep that in mind. And ask yourself this instead. Can I be with what I see without trying to fix it right away? That can be the beginning of your healing, right? Can I be with what I see without trying to fix it right away? Because whatever we're working on is not going to be fixed overnight. It's not going to change in 24 hours. This is a daily, monthly, yearly type of thing for real change. Now, if you say that you changed from yesterday and you really didn't do the work, you really didn't look within, you really didn't figure out what the real issue is, then in my opinion, you're just masking things. You're throwing sugar on top of it, and a year from now, a couple months from now, you're still going to be coming back to that very thing that you threw sugar on and you did not work on or to fix, right? So yeah, keep that in mind. Remember that you can do the work. Remember that you are worthy of change. Remember that the only person that can change is you. Okay? Darnell, said your name correctly, from Atlanta. I love the show about boundaries. That's one of my favorites when we be putting boundaries, right? Because boundaries are great to have. Boundaries they seem cute until it's time for you to reinforce those boundaries, right? So I will always go back to us having boundaries and setting them. So But he says that I love the show on boundaries, but I still feel guilty when I say no to my family. What can I do to stop that? The guilt that rides with you from the word no. Let me be clear first. Guilt is not a signal that you're doing something wrong. It's often a sign that you're doing something new. And it's going to be uncomfortable when you're doing something new and you're operating under something different, right? Because change is never comfortable or easy, right? Especially if you're changing to better yourself. And saying no is really like hard to do for most people, especially, and we did that episode about saying no and how hard it is to say no to your family and your friends, your loved ones. But I will stand on this every day. Like, those boundaries are great for yourself, is great for your healing, your journey, and we have to be comfortable, we have to be okay with saying no. And remember when I said saying no without over explaining why we say no? No means no, right? And what I will say to you, Darnell, is that if you're comfortable saying no, and if there is any backlash, they're upset with you saying no, or whatever the case may be, then you already know what time it is. Because if they valued you and you telling them no, it would not be something that's going to upset them, right? They're going to respect your boundaries, right? And they're because they love you and they respect you, and they're going to be okay with saying no. I told this to one of my family members. It's okay for you to take time out for yourself. Tell people no. No, you cannot help them. No, you cannot give them money. No, you cannot do this. No, you cannot. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to set a day out. Like, one of my little sisters did that. She set a day out and she sent a message, a blast message to everybody, and was like, look, on this day during these times, I'm unavailable. And I'm not saying that I don't care about you, but what I am saying is I'm loving on me and I'm checking in with me. So she set those boundaries and we adjusted, right? And I remember going and picking up the phone one time and to call her, and I was like, oh, dang, today's that day. You know, I can't call her during this time. And of course, if it was an emergency, then I would have let her know it was an emergency, and obviously she would have picked up. But I respected her time because that's the time that she said that she needed to check in with herself. And you cannot overgive to people, right? I never recommend that because that's not good for you or for them. And some people, I'm not saying all, but some people, they don't care about you being overwhelmed. They don't care about, you having something going on with your life, as long as they're getting what they want from you, right? So saying no, and what can you do to stop it? When you start setting boundaries, especially with people you're used to hearing yes from you, your no will feel your feeling is very happy. But Donnell, this is not a betrayal. It's a declaration. It says I matter too. It says I care about me. I love me, right? Every time you say no from a place of alignment, you are building a stronger yes to yourself. And once you keep doing that and reinforcing those boundaries, it's going to become easier and easier and easier. And like I said before, if they love you and value you, they will respect your boundaries and they will adjust. And if they do not, Darnell, you know what I say, unplug and plug up where you are valued and you are loved, and somebody is pouring into you as much as you are pouring into them, right? And so that is that's how I'm going to answer that question. And just remember that your time matters and you do matter. And you cannot pour into other people when your cup is empty, right? So it's okay to check in with you. All right, you guys, I'm going to give you guys a quick second. We're going to listen to a few commercials and we will be right back. All right, you guys, if you are tuning in right now, you're listening to the Daily Dose with your life coach, Gina Cherie, on WRUU 107.5 FM Savannah. We are diving into listeners' comments and questions, reflections, and past episodes, and making space for real, vulnerable truth. And you belong right here, right now. So we left off with, I do believe it was Darnell from Atlanta. And he was talking about boundaries and how to overcome, that feeling of saying no to your loved one. So we're going to jump right back into this for more listeners' voices. We got an Instagram. Healing is messy. Yeah, right? Like, that's a great name, because healing is messy. Like, it is not a pretty thing when you have to start this healing journey and you're like serious about it. You be doing ugly cries and everything else. Like, for real, I got some ugly cries in there. But it was well needed. But y'all didn't want to see me on no ugly cry. It was bad. But I like the name. So yes, healing is messy. And this is from Instagram. My Instagram is The Daily Dose. So you guys can connect with me on that if you guys so choose to. Let's see. You once said letting go doesn't mean giving up, right? I keep trying to let go of someone I love, but it still hurts. How do I move on and still honor what I had? Okay. Our heart is very tender, right? And wise. Letting go doesn't erase the love that you had for this person. It simply releases you from carrying something that no longer grows with you, that no longer serves a value, right? And I did say this in a show. It does not matter how long that you've known this person, and this could be for any type of relationship. It doesn't matter how long. It could be 10 years, 2 years, 20 years, right? If that situation, that relationship, if it no longer serves you purpose, then it's like you're playing tug of war, right? And most of us play tug of war. You had that long rope and we're pulling it, and the other side is pulling it. If we're pulling it with our bare hands, what happens, right? Sometimes our hands hurt, it starts to burn, we get calluses and things of that nature, right? And it's just ripping our hands apart until what? Until we let go, until we release that rope that we're pulling, that's causing us the injury, causing us the pain, then we're still going to continue having that pain on us, right? And so letting go does not mean that you do not acknowledge the love that you had, the friendship, the relationship that you had with that person. But what it is saying that I am growing. And if this relationship is not because they're not viable, but there are some people that are comfortable in the state that they're in. And I'm hoping my words are making sense. There are some people that just cannot go with you on this journey and on this growth, right? You can't take everybody with you. So if you are dealing with someone, and I don't care what kind of relationship it is, and you're saying, hey, I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to move to a different space. I'm ready to operate in the alignment that I know I deserve. And you are dealing with somebody that is complacent, doesn't want to grow. They still are operating in that mess. Then it's time for you to release that, right? So I know that it's going to be hard. Okay, and like I said, it doesn't erase the love that you had. It simply releases you from carrying something that no longer grows with you. You can honor what you had without dragging it into the future, right? You can still care about somebody from a distance, right? And I think that is very brave, because we all had to let go of something or someone that we loved, someone that was dear to us, and that is very painful. It hurts us to our core, right? And that's where sometimes that ugly cry come in, right? But if you know And most of us do know, because a lot of times we're holding on to people knowing their red flags. How many of us have held on and we've seen every red flag that they have thrown at us, they have waved it in our face, but somehow we still hold on and we dismiss the things that we see and things that we know that is not for us, but we hold on anyway. It's like you playing tug of war, right? So I admire you for the courage of making that step two of letting go of what no longer serves you. But I also am going to say it's not going to be easy. It's going to take time. But I want you to be gentle with yourself and give yourself that time to grieve, right? Because anytime that we let go of something, it's a grieving process. And everybody grieves differently. Nobody should put an expectation on your grieving process. But while you're doing that, stay focused on your healing journey. Stay focused on the things that you want to accomplish. And keep moving. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to not only pat yourself on the back, which you should be doing. I think all of us should be patting ourselves on the back when we take the courage to move forward, because it is scary. And sometimes we have to move forward alone, and it takes courage for us to do that, right? So just remember, be gentle with yourself. And it's going to get easier and easier day by day. Put the work in and understand the reason why you had to let go. And remember, like I said, you can honor the relationship that you have without dragging it to your future. And here's something else for you that you can say. I release with love. I remember with grace. And I walk forward with peace. And I'm going to say that one more time. So ding, ding, ding. If this is you, if you are trying to get over letting someone go, a relationship, a situationship, whatever it is, this is something that you can say to yourself. You can write it on your sticky notes. You can write it on your mirror. You can write it down in your journal. Ding, ding, ding. I release with love. I remember with grace. And I walk forward with peace. Okay. If you're unable to write that down, take a mental note if you can, and just remember that. I don't care if it's only a little piece of that. If you can remember it, remember it. Okay. Tamika is up next. Let's see. Hey, Coach Gina. Hey, I like that. Hey, Coach Gina. Your episode on forgiveness changed the way that I see myself. I've been trying to forgive me. That's the hardest part, but I'm learning. Yes. I remember that episode. We were talking about forgiving ourselves from our past mistakes. That's hard. And that was very touching, and it was very personal for me to be transparent with you guys about forgiving myself. And to me, it's not easy to forgive ourselves. And remember when I said my dad is the one who came to me and was like, the only person holding you back is you. God's already forgiven you. People around you are forgiving you. You're the only one still punishing yourself. And like at the time I was just like, ugh. But then it made total sense. I wasn't having the things that I felt like I could have because of something that I did. Right? I was punishing myself over and over and over again, telling myself that I didn't deserve more, that I couldn't have more because I did something when I was 18 years old, right? And my dad was totally right. Like, the only person standing in your way is you. Like, the only person that's holding me back is me, right? And when I had to learn to get out of my own way and forgive myself for any stupid thing that I must have did, like, that's when I was able to go after things that I knew that I deserved. I knew I deserved peace. I knew I deserved healing. I knew I deserved to be able to operate in the person that I was designed to be. Now, I wouldn't change anything that I went through. You guys heard me say this if you guys listen to the Daily Dose. I wouldn't change anything that I've ever been through. Did I hate going through it? Yes, definitely. Was it painful? Yes, definitely. But because I went through that, it made me be who I am today. And it gave me a chance to use my platform to let you guys know that you're not your past. And you can forgive yourself, and you can move on, and you can learn, and you can go after the life that you want. And it wasn't until I was in my late 30s when I said, girl, like, you don't have to stay in this. You deserve better because you've done the work, right? You have, changed around everything from the people that you were hanging out with that you knew you shouldn't have been hanging out with. And my daddy told me, but I did not listen. But then here it is, right? And so I forgave myself. And then I started working on myself. I started being transparent, and I started writing down. This is where the journals and stuff came in, right? Because I was honest with myself, and I was telling myself, this is the things that we need to work on. Depression, self-worth, doubting myself. That was the biggest one. And low self-esteem. Like, I was operating, y'all, I'm telling you, I was broken out here. And it took me some time, and it took me to separate from the things that I knew, my comfort zone. And sometimes when we are punishing ourselves from something that we've done, that's a comfort zone, and we operate in that, and we stay in that, and that is what's holding us back. And once I stepped out of that comfort zone, but trust me, I was scared, y'all. I was scared, but I did it. And no, it's not going to be easy. No, it's not going to be a cakewalk. You're going to have some cries. You're going to have some setbacks. You're going to go through these emotions. But I promise you that it will work out in the end, and it's going to be in your favor, right? But I am proud of you for taking that step. The hardest thing to do is forgiveness, and to forgive ourselves. That self-forgiveness is the most hardest thing that we could ever go through, but it's also the most freeing. Because when we free ourselves from that guilt, and we tell ourselves that we no longer have to live in that space, it's like, remember that bag lady? Yeah, y'all remember the bag lady? That's where that comes in. You're releasing all this self-doubt. You're releasing all the insecurities. And now you're starting to feel free. Now you're starting to feel like a whole nother person. And remember, you guys, it starts with the mind, right? What we're thinking is what we are telling our hearts, what we're telling ourselves, whether it's good or bad. And that's when we're going to operate in that. So if you're still punishing yourself from something that you've done years ago, yesterday, or whatever, then that's what you're going to operate in. So it's changing that mindset. And once you start changing that mindset and speaking life over yourself and doing those positive affirmations and reinforcements, then you're going to see the world in a whole nother space, right? I see the world differently now because I stopped punishing myself. Now I see the things that I could have had a long time ago if I would have just got out of my own way and forgave myself for anything that I've done, right? So I'm very proud of you, and I'm proud of anybody that's up under my voice that is taking that time, whether you started yesterday or whether you're listening now, when you say, hey, today is the day that I work on forgiving myself and stop punishing myself for something that I've done in my past, and understand that you are not your past, right? So, and then, keep that in your journal, right? Write it down, ding, 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 ding. Write it down in your journal. Anything that you are punishing yourself for, still. Write it down in your journal. Release that. Be honest, ding, ding, ding. Write it down in your journal. Anything that you are punishing yourself for, still. Write it down in your journal. Release that. Be honest with it. And then, like, weeks later, months later, or whatever time later, you can always go back. I like to go back to my journals, and I like to reflect on where I was and where I am now, and that is like very rewarding for me to know that I stayed focused, I put the work in, and I'm in a whole nother space right now. And now I'm in line with the person that I always meant to be. And I'm going after things that I felt like I couldn't have a long time ago, right? All right, so that is for that one, for forgiveness. Like I said, I'm very proud of you, Tamika. I'm proud of anybody that is taking that stand to start the process of forgiving themselves, right? Kareem in Jacksonville. Shout out to Jacksonville. What do I do when growth feels lonely? Whew. I understand. Growth is a lonely process. Sometimes it is a very lonely process, baby. And everybody cannot go with you. They cannot go through this journey with you because it is your personal journey, your personal growth. But let's sit with this, because real talk, growth is lonely most of the time. When you're healing, evolving, and honoring your truth, you may outgrow places, patterns, and people. But I promise you this: loneliness is growth and is temporary. Loneliness is temporary, is what I'm saying. The alignment you gain is permanent. I'm going to say that one more time. Loneliness and growth is temporary. Okay, the alignment you gain is permanent. So I want you to keep that in mind. And if you need to write this down, if you're someone that is going through growth and you're feeling lonely in the moment, I want you to write this down. This is a journal. Write down, or just keep it on the back of your mind. So ding, ding, ding. That loneliness in growth is temporary. The alignment you gain is permanent, right? There's going to be times where you're going to be felt very lonely and be by yourself. But I want you to use that time wisely and continue doing that work that you know that needs to be done to continue on to your healing journey. Yeah, we're gonna sometimes, for me, and I can only speak for me right now, when I felt lonely in this journey, and sometimes I still do to this present day, I have to remind myself why I'm doing it. I have to remind myself that this is my journey alone. And I cannot ask somebody to go through this journey with me, because their journey is theirs and this is mine. And yeah, like just last night, you guys, we're going to be transparent, right? I felt lonely last night. Like I was laying in this bed watching TV and I was like, oh my God, I'm by myself. Like I'm shaking my phone. Like nobody's calling. But then I have to, remind myself. And I got up and I got out the house, because sometimes driving for me gives me a calm. It gives me a peace of mind and makes me refocus. And I had to understand, they're not calling, they're not reaching out because they don't want to, the ones that's in my circle. But this is my time to use wisely and reflect on some of the things that I might have gone through during the week, or just the past day, and work on whatever I needed to work on. And this is my time to do it. I'm in transition, and I am making moves that I know is going to better myself. So instead of wobbling in the fact that I feel lonely, I got up and started doing things that I knew that was going to help me get to where I want to be, right? And I went back to my my words of affirmation, and I told myself that this is your journey. You're okay. You're not alone. You may feel lonely, but you're not alone. So we're going to use this time wisely. And I had to keep telling myself that I'm okay. Remember putting your hand on your heart, telling yourself that you are okay. You don't have to cry right now. You are okay. And so when I kept repeating that to myself, and I had to control my breathing, I had to slow it down. I had to take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out, right? Because those are very important, so that I won't put myself in anxiety, right? And overthink. So I changed my atmosphere. I got myself out of the house and I went for a drive. I turned on some really good jazz music. Yes, I love me some jazz. And I refocused. And I told myself, this is the reason why we're doing this, right? They can't come with you. This is your journey. So you're okay. You're going to be fine. We're going to focus on what's important. We're going to realign ourselves with what is important to us and the goal that we're trying to get to and why, right? And I was like, okay, girl, like I got this. Like I'm in there. I'm good. Like I feel better. I'm good. I needed to get out of that mindset because I was overthinking, and that mindset was going to take me back to a place that I didn't want to be again, to where my mind kept telling me that I wasn't worthy, that I wasn't good enough, that I can't accomplish this, that nothing's going